Hi, everyone. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever you are. We're back again with our A Day in the Life of an Entrepreneur, and this time I have a very special guest with me. She's the co founder for Acto. Now, I'll just invite her and let her more speak about what she's doing because she's been doing a lot. Hi, Ankita.
Hi, Vandana. Thanks for having me on your show.
Yeah, thank you so much. So, Ankita, I know that you've been involved in a lot of stuff and you are building Acto as well with your co founder. So, we want to know about first your journey and then towards you being an entrepreneur.
Yeah, Vandana, thanks for this question. I obviously get asked this question a lot. And it's been, 15, 16 months that me and my co-founder left our jobs. We were both working together at CleverTap. It's a marketing automation platform. Again, a B2B SaaS company, India and US cross-border SaaS company. Um, And interestingly, so I was working as a chief of staff, and my co-founder there was the VP engineer. And we both sort of were hungry to start up something. We wanted to. We had done like we had gotten enough experience in our lives, and we wanted to kind of build something of our own. And CleverTab was a very good platform for us to learn about startups, learn about how things move, how like what products to build, how to talk to users, um, everything from GTM, all of those things we had experienced. And so both of us, since we were friends, we started exploring and we came across this problem statement which actually my co-founder was working on in his role as a security engineer, that you face a lot of times, how to do your application security testing repeatedly when hundreds of developers are continuously writing code, submitting their PRs and all that. So how do you do your dynamic application security testing? And that became sort of our problem statement. What we did was, Vandana, before actually leaving the job, we spoke with like more than 100 plus security engineers um, before, after both. And we realized that the whole problem, actually, more than application security testing, it's literally API security, which is, there's in API inventory is a huge problem. Um, People don't have ways to automate their security testing. They don't know in runtime what all issues are there in their APIs. So those three problems sort of became our roadmap. And I think December 2021 is when we started writing a single line of code. And we had a product, an MVP ready by January 2022. Uh, had customers then raised some funding in May. A lot of things have happened now that I think about it. Now, obviously, it was just me and my co-founder, one intern. Um, then now we have a team of 10 members. Uh, it's like engineers, marketers, designer, and customers across the globe. So it's been an interesting journey. Yeah, that's it's now that I think about it, 15 minutes, a lot of things have happened. And I've met you in some two conferences in Nalcon and then I think OAS San Francisco. That's where our conversation started. And I'm happy to see you that you're doing this podcast actually.
Great. Thank you so much, Ankita. Now, I'm sure that idea or action um, made you learn something new. So, from your journey as an entrepreneur, if you would like to share some of the inputs that what people can do when they are becoming an entrepreneur or they're looking for their journey, what are the things that they should keep in mind? And this is very, very interesting because getting a
Yeah,
funding and thinking about how do you want it and how do you want to proceed further with it is very, very challenging because it consumes a lot of energy.
yeah.
And building something from scratch is again, it's a big thing, putting that idea to the action.
So I'll talk about B2B from a B2B enterprise perspective. I think it's super, super important for any founder who's starting up right now to just talk to users, talk to as many users every day, every week as possible about their problems. You cannot build a product that people love, that users love, until you understand your users. You have to be in their shoes all the time. You have to feel their problems. So I think that is something that we did very, very well. We talked to users all the time, like really understand their problems, every single thing, every pain point. It's just something that you can't stop doing. You have to keep doing it for rest of whatever, however big your company becomes. You have to keep talking to users. So that's very, very much one. The second, I think, which founders like most of the founders do it wrong, and there's a lot of advice around it by YC, by some of the people I really admire, like Paul Graham, uh, that you ship out your MVP as fast as possible. Your minimum viable product, you cannot take months. You cannot. You have to ship it out in few days. It has to be a very small unit, very very simple thing. You cannot think of, like, designing the whole product in like months, and then after 6 months I'll release a beta version and then the alpha version, and then I'll release I'll give it to some 10 users to test and then release to the full world. No, you have to release an MVP within a few days. You have to cut down the features, the product, and just make it very, very small. Because and the reason behind that is, it's very much there on internet. Everyone has talked about it. The reason is, as fast as possible you release your product, you will get feedback instantly. It is so vital that you get feedback within days of working on the product. You cannot build features without getting feedback. So that's what we did, Vandana. We didn't have a like beta version or an alpha version or anything. No, we just released. We said, okay, use it. We had like within, I think, 20 days we released the product, and just use it and give us feedback. And that really helped us. I think that's the second learning I want to give to the founders, especially in early stage. Like, ship fast as possible. You cannot wait for making it perfect. You cannot wait for solving every single bug. It's okay to release with bugs. Yeah.
I understand, which means there are a lot of roadblocks that come your way. So, how do you handle those unexpected challenges or roadblocks that come maybe any day? Because you're building small product and then you start building on top of it. So, how do you handle those things, hopes or jumps or
Yeah. Yeah, Vandana, I don't remember a single month where we didn't have like a shocking news or something that, was a terrible thing. Um, like everything, even like last month was something. I, I I don't know if you know, SVB fiasco happened. Silicon Valley Bank had this whole fiasco, and we had all of our money was in Silicon Valley Bank. So we had this like whole fiasco of a week and all that, and we handled it somehow. Like I mean, things became better, but we had a whole plan that how we were going to manage it, what are we going to do, and all that. But this sort of thing, I mean, this was the biggest thing that happened to us. It sort of became better, but there were multiple setbacks, multiple things. Like, there was a time when, like, just in 2 months of our journey, we had like the biggest client who was going to on who we were going to onboard, and who loved our product and everything. I can't take their name right now, but it sort of fell down within 2 days because of some legal problem. Something happened, and it was like a big setback for us, because at that time, obviously, we didn't have a lot of users, and we were just starting up, and but we went on. I mean, the whole learning is that things are going to become bad every week, every month. It is okay. It is like, absorb it, move on. Absorb it, move on. Do better, keep learning is the only thing we have learned. It's We have chosen this startup journey because of that, right? No day is going to be like an amazing happy day or something. We'll have small happiness. We have small sad things. we'll enjoy the happy moments that, oh, our customer loved this feature, happy. If, oh, somebody said bad thing about our documentation, we become sad. So so it's like, like small things can give us a lot of joy. And yeah, like, it's a founder journey. You have to become thick skinned, you have to be okay with like bad feedback and everything. I think you just move on. That's all.
Yeah, I agree. I think absorbing and then moving on is a very good advice, because that's very important to absorb it rather than to avoid it. Yeah. And
Yeah.
how do you stay motivated? Because that's one thing I want to know. How do you stay motivated and avoid this burnout over the long term? Because burnout is something which is very real. We all accept it, and especially in past few years, we've realized that it's a thing to talk. So balancing a
Oh,
family
totally.
is equal for anyone. It's equal for anyone and everyone. Everyone is juggling, but that burnout is actually real. So how do you handle that?
Yeah. I think, Vandana, this is a very important topic, because burnout is a very real thing. Like, not just founders, your team can be burned out, and I'll talk about my journey, right? I have always been like a workaholic, very hardworking. I would work like hours, even before Acto, like always. And Acto is obviously my baby, my company, so I'm working even harder. But there are times when I burn out. There are times when I'm like, I can't take it anymore. It's like, there's just too much going on. There's too much context switch. Like, I just need a little bit of break and all that. And it's totally okay. I think it's totally okay to like take out that time for you, your family. Like, would do at least I go do some workout, like spend time with people I love, just like watch something, and just like have some time for myself. Obviously, this doesn't help everyone, and this is not the answer for burnout always. Uh, but in my case, I can just specifically talk about myself. I have a wonderful team. I have a wonderful team. So, which means like anyone who's burning out, like me, my co-founder, my engineers, anyone who's burning out, I think we are so much there for each other. Like, we are just like, okay, it's okay. Don't work on this feature. Let's just go have pizza, or let's just like do some fun activity or something. So that really helps. Uh, Being motivated, I think motivation as a founder, it can never be down. And I mean, it's impossible for it to be down. It's every day. Just motivation only increases. It's never gone down. I think of the 15 months, it's just the graph is like this of motivation. It's only increasing because you see the users, you see the problem statement that you're solving, you know the potential of the product, you know the potential of the company. So you're like, no, I'm going to make this $1 billion company. I'm going to make this, like, solve the API security for the world. And this, like, there's no lack of motivation at all. Which, like, as a founder, I think that's the biggest thing you need to have, and that comes, I don't know, from like it has to come from within. I guess, at least for me, that was the reason I started the company.
Yeah, I think that's a very fair point. And now you stay motivated, you motivate the team, but then it's like a group where you have to close knit bonding with your team, as well as what I've seen that there are people who do the networking with other founders, other startup. There are even at conferences there are startup zones which are there. So how do you approach this new sort of networking and building relationship with other entrepreneurs and business leaders in the industry?
Yeah. Vandana, to be honest, I have stopped networking so much in the last 2, 3 years. I used to be the biggest networker before. People used to call me walking, talking LinkedIn. Um, but now, like, so much focus is there on just Acto and the company, and like, either you work on Acto or you work on, or you're spending time with your family. You don't have a lot of time to do anything else that's not helping either your family or your company. Having said that, uh, I I I generally don't advise founders to do networking. It doesn't help your company much. But having said that, there are a group of founders who will, if you're helping each other, there are some groups that I have, like WhatsApp groups, and there are people I found on LinkedIn and stuff, who I generally just ask for help. And we have, like, we these are so beautiful groups, Vandana. Like, they have helped each other so much. For example, in SVB fiasco, there was like a bunch of founders coming together and helping each other. I think that's awesome. Like, that network of founders that you have, and you're sharing your problems, that hey, I'm not able to hire this person, or I'm not able to do this, or I my website sucks, or I'm not able to get, good content, or anything that you want to share, you can really share with the person who actually understands your pain. So that's beautiful, and that you should have. I think that I'm doing, like, I'm trying to do a lot, at least on the WhatsApp groups and all. But physically, I'm not really going out and meeting people and trying to be out there. Uh, but yeah, the advice to other founders is, like, find that group of founders who can help each other. It's super super helpful.
Yeah, I agree. I think you do networking, whether it's virtual or in person, it doesn't matter. But when you are
Yeah,
connecting, you're sharing your ideas, when you're learning from them, I think that's important. I think that's really, really good.
totally,
Uh, yeah, yeah,
totally,
absolutely. Ankita, it
totally.
was wonderful speaking. Yeah, go ahead.
Sorry, totally. Like, I cannot tell you how many times founders have helped me, like other founders who are ahead in the journey. And even, like, for me, right, it's been 15 months now. I'm trying to give back. If somebody asks me a question, I try to add value. I try to answer, because now I have been ahead a little bit on the curve. So that part is wonderful. Like, both me and my co-founder have valued a lot of these WhatsApp groups and people who have helped us. Yeah.
Yeah, that's very amazing. So, there's one more thing that I want to know from you. You've given us wonderful advice about your journey and from your journey, and then about networking. But any books, any podcast, any maybe a journal, anything that you, or maybe a movie that you want to suggest or recommend people to look at, which can help them in their journey.
I think for founders, things that help me are two things. I'm a big Paul Graham fan. Like, Paul Graham,
Mhm.
he's the founder of YC, and I love him. I love
Mm,
all of his blogs and articles. So I think if you're a founder, just go to paulgraham.com and read everything he writes about startups.
mm,
The second place, again about startups, is YC. Like, YC has so many articles on everything that you want to learn about startups, and there's no bullshit there. It talks the right stuff. It talks exactly the thing, tactical guides to founders. I think I've taken so much help from there. These are the two things I would highly recommend founders to go to.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Ankita, for being with me uh, and joining me here on this podcast. Really, really amazing to have you here. Thank you.
Thanks, Vandana. Thanks for inviting me. I love this podcast, and I'm hoping to hear more of your podcast soon.